Tonight, I will teach you the greatest secret of creation, the power to feel your desires into reality. Most men believe they must toil, struggle, and fight to achieve their dreams. But I tell you, it is not so. Creation is finished, and every possibility already exists. Your only task is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you can feel it, truly feel it as real, the world must rearrange itself to match your assumption. You are not separate from the power that creates worlds. You are that power in expression. Let me show you how to wield it. Feeling is the secret. It is not your outer efforts, not your constant striving, nor even your intellectual understanding that shapes your world. It is your feeling. What you feel deeply and consistently to be true is what becomes your reality. This is the great mystery of creation, and yet it is the simplest truth. You do not attract what you merely wish for, you attract what you are, and you are what you feel yourself to be. Most people live in bondage to their senses, reacting to the world as it appears. They look upon their current circumstances, see lack, limitation, or failure, and then feel accordingly. They allow the outer world to dictate their inner state, never realizing that the outer is only a reflection of the inner. It is you who impresses upon you. It is you who impresses upon the world. The world is your mirror, showing you with perfect accuracy what you have accepted as true within yourself. So I ask you, what do you feel to be true about yourself? Not what you say, not what you hope for, but what you deeply, instinctively feel. Do you feel prosperous, or do you feel the weight of lack? Do you feel loved and chosen, or do you feel abandoned and overlooked? You may claim with your lips that you are successful, but if, in the silence of your mind, you feel unworthy or doubtful, then that feeling will outpicture itself in your life. Man has been given a gift greater than all the treasures of the earth, yet he remains unaware of it. That gift is the ability to assume a feeling independent of the facts of life. You do not have to wait for the world to change before you feel different. You must feel different first, and then the world must change. This is not a theory. It is not a theory, it is a law. To understand this, consider the nature of a dream. When you are lost in a dream, do you not react to it as though it were real? If in your dream you find yourself standing in a magnificent home, do you not feel the luxury, the warmth, the ownership of it? In that moment, you do not question its reality. You do not stop and say, "This is only a dream. I must wait for physical proof before I believe it." No, you accept the feeling, and because you accept it, the dream continues to unfold in harmony with that feeling. This world is no different. It is simply a longer, more persistent dream, one that responds to the feelings you consistently hold within. If you can assume the feeling of already being the person you wish to be, the world must reflect it. You do not need to know how it will come to pass. You only need to feel that it already has. Try it now. Close your eyes and imagine yourself already in possession of what you desire. Do not simply see it, feel it. If it is wealth you seek, how does it feel to be financially free? Is it a feeling of security, ease, power? Let that feeling wash over you as though it were already a fact. If it is love you desire, how does it feel to be cherished, wanted, adored? Lose yourself in that feeling, and as you do, you will shift into a new state of being. The world cannot help but mirror back to you what you have assumed within. It has no choice. This is the law, and it is as sure and unwavering as the rising of the sun. But you must persist in the feeling. Many begin this practice with enthusiasm, but when the world does not immediately change, they return to their old feelings of doubt and lack. They check for signs, they look to the outer for validation, and in doing so, they undo their work. You must live in the assumption, hold to the feeling, and know that what you feel must be made manifest. When you learn to control your feeling, you will hold in your hands the key to creation itself. It is not enough to know this intellectually. You must practice it, live it, become it. Your world is not happening to you. It is happening through you, shaped by the feelings you most consistently dwell upon. Choose now to feel yourself into the life you desire and watch as the world bends to your assumption. The law of assumption is the key to manifesting the life you desire. It is not wishful thinking, nor is it a passive hope for something to come in the future. It is the deliberate and conscious act of assuming that you already are the person you wish to be and that your desire is already fulfilled. This is not about forcing reality to change. It is about shifting your own state of being. The moment you assume something is true, fully, without doubt, you set into motion the unseen forces that will bring it to pass. Most people live under the illusion that they must wait for evidence before they can believe in their desires. They say, I will believe it when I see it. But this is not how reality works. You must first assume it, feel it as real, and persist in that assumption until the world conforms to it. This is the great secret hidden from those who rely solely on their senses. Your senses show you only what you have previously assumed. If you wish to change your life, you must assume something new before there is any visible proof. Think of yourself as a radio receiver. Right now, you are tuned to a particular frequency, the state of being that you habitually assume. If you wish to experience a different reality, you must tune yourself to a new frequency by assuming the corresponding state. A person who assumes the state of wealth, who consistently feels prosperous, will inevitably attract experiences that reflect that assumption. A person who assumes the state of love, who walks through life feeling adored and chosen, will see that assumption mirrored in their relationships. But the one who assumes lack, struggle, or rejection will find the world confirming those assumptions as well. The law does not discriminate. It only reflects what you persistently assume to be true. You do not need to beg, force, or struggle to bring your desires into being. You only need to know that they are already yours. The assumption, once fully accepted, becomes fact. This is not magic, it is law. Every great success, every remarkable transformation has come from someone assuming a new state of being. They may not have called it the law of assumption, but they practice it nonetheless. Consider the actor who fully embodies a role. In that moment, he does not merely pretend to be the character, he becomes the character. His movements, his thoughts, his very essence align with that assumption. And what happens? The audience believes it. The world responds to the assumption. This is precisely how the law of assumption works in life. You are always playing a role, whether you are conscious of it or not. The role you assume dictates the experiences that unfold before you. The key is to assume the state of your desire and persist in that assumption regardless of what the outer world tells you. If you assume wealth but your bank account still shows lack, do not be deceived by appearances. If you assume love but your outer world seems lonely, do not waver in your assumption. Reality must shift to match your inner state, but it does so on its own time and in its own way. The moment you doubt, the moment you fall back into your old assumptions, you undo your work. When you understand this law, you realize that you are never at the mercy of circumstances. You are not bound by your past, by your upbringing, by your current limitations. You are free to assume anything you wish to be true. And as you assume, so shall it be. This is the power that has been given to you. It has always been yours, waiting for you to claim it. The question is not whether the law works. The law is always working, shaping your life according to your assumptions. The question is, what are you assuming? Are you assuming that things are difficult, that success is out of reach, that love is fleeting? Or are you assuming that you are already successful, already loved, already abundant? You must discipline yourself to assume the best, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. This is not delusion, this is creation. You are not ignoring reality, you are creating reality. The outer world is only a reflection of past assumptions. If you wish to see something new, you must first become something new in your inner world. So assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Walk as though your desire is already a fact. Speak, think, and act from the state of the fulfilled desire. And most importantly, persist. The world will not always change instantly, but it must change. It is law. When you refuse to waver, when you hold to your assumption with unwavering faith, you will watch in wonder as the world reshapes itself to fit your inner conviction. Imagination creates reality. This is not a metaphor, nor is it a poetic idea meant to inspire. It is a law, an unbreakable truth that governs all creation. Everything you experience in the outer world was first conceived in imagination. Every building, every invention, every work of art. Every great achievement began as an idea, an image held in the mind. The world you see is nothing more than the outpicturing of the invisible states assumed within you. To change your life, you must first change what you imagine to be true. Most people believe imagination is a mere tool for fantasy, something separate from reality. But I tell you, imagination is reality. It is the source from which all things flow. The great error of mankind is believing that the seen world is primary and that imagination is secondary. But the opposite is true. What you hold in your imagination with feeling and belief will solidify into fact. Your imagination is God in action, creating your world according to the images you impress upon it. At this very moment, you are imagining something, whether consciously or unconsciously. Your inner conversations, the pictures that pass through your mind, the emotions you dwell upon, all of these shape your world. If you wish to change your life, you must take control of this creative power. You must become aware of what you are imagining and discipline yourself to see only that which you wish to experience. If you persist in a new assumption, the outer world has no choice but to conform to it. Consider the nature of dreams. While dreaming, you accept the experience as real. If you are flying in a dream, you do not stop and question how it is possible. You simply feel the exhilaration of flight. If you find yourself in a grand palace, you do not doubt your surroundings. You accept them as real in that moment. And because you accept them, they continue to unfold naturally. This same principle applies to your waking life. If you can assume a state in imagination so vividly that you feel it is real, then the world must, in time, make it so. You may wonder, if imagination creates reality, then why do I not see instant results? The answer is simple. The world you experience now is the product of past imaginal activity. Your present circumstances are merely the crystallization of former states of mind. If you wish to experience something new, you must persist in imagining it, even in the face of contrary evidence. In the moment you accept a new state as real within, the process of manifestation begins. But you must remain faithful to it. If you allow doubt or fear to enter, you return to your old assumptions, and the world reflects them once again. This is why so few truly harness this power. They waver. They imagine wealth, but then they check their bank account and feel lack. They imagine love, but then they dwell on loneliness. They allow the outer world to dictate their inner state, never realizing that the outer world is only a reflection of past assumptions. The key is to reverse this process. The inner must come first. Feel yourself to already be the person you wish to be, and the world will rearrange itself to match. Do not wait for evidence. Do not wait for the world to change before you believe in your vision. Imagination is the cause, reality is the effect. Live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled now, and the world must bend to your assumption. The means by which it comes to pass is not your concern. You do not need to know how it will happen, only that it must happen. The unseen forces of the universe will move in ways beyond your comprehension to bring about what you have assumed. Test this for yourself. Take a simple desire and assume its fulfillment in imagination. Close your eyes and see it as already done. Hear the words you would hear if it were true. Feel the emotions you would feel. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day, refusing to let the outer world shake your conviction. If you do this sincerely, with persistence, you will watch as the world shifts to reflect your assumption. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are the creator of your reality, and imagination is your tool of creation. Use it wisely. Assume the best. Live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and trust that the world must conform to your vision. This is not theory, it is law. The only question is whether you will use it consciously or allow old assumptions to dictate your fate. Choose now to imagine only the highest and best, and your life will become a reflection of your chosen vision. Living in the end is the key to bringing your desires into reality. It is not enough to merely wish, hope, or even visualize. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and live from that state as though it were already done. Most people look at their current circumstances and react to what they see, never realizing that what they see is only a reflection of their past assumptions. If they wish to change their life, they must change their state of being, and the most powerful way to do this is to mentally and emotionally live in the end. To live in the end means to accept, without question, that your desire is already fulfilled. You no longer seek it, you no longer wonder when it will come, and you no longer try to make it happen. You rest in the knowing that it is already yours. This is not about pretending or acting as though something is true while secretly doubting. It is about fully assuming the state of already having it, already being it, and already experiencing it. The world will then be forced to conform to your new state of consciousness. Many fail because they continue to check for results, looking to the outer world for confirmation. They say they believe in their desire, but when they see no immediate change, they revert to their old thoughts of doubt and lack. They do not persist in the assumption, and so the world remains as it was. But those who truly live in the end, who walk, talk, think, and feel as though their wish is already realized, see the power of this law in action. The outer world must eventually reflect what has been fully assumed within. Think of a person who has achieved great success. They do not constantly question whether they are successful. They know they are. They move through life with confidence, ease, and certainty. This knowing is not something they acquired after their success appeared. It was the cause of the success. They lived in the end mentally before it materialized physically. The same is true for love, health, wealth, and any other desire. The ones who have it are those who first assumed it within. You must practice this principle deliberately. If you desire a new career, do not think of yourself as someone struggling to attain it. Instead, assume that you already are the successful person you wish to be. Feel what it would be like to wake up each morning living your dream. How would you carry yourself? How would you think? What would you say? Let these feelings saturate your mind until they become natural to you. Once they do, the world will begin to move in ways unseen, shifting circumstances, opening doors, and arranging events to match your assumption. If it is love you seek, do not long for it as though it was something distant. Assume you are already in the perfect relationship. Feel the joy, the comfort, the companionship as though it were already a fact. Walk through life with the confidence of one who is deeply loved. When you fully accept this state, the outer world has no choice but to bring it to you. The right person, the right circumstances, the perfect unfolding, all of it must come because you have already embodied the end result. The power of living in the end is that it removes all struggle. You are no longer trying to become something, you are it. And because you are it, reality must shape itself accordingly. This is why effort and force are unnecessary in true manifestation. When you are truly convinced that your desire is already fulfilled, you do not need to manipulate or chase anything. The world simply shifts to match your inner conviction. The key is to remain faithful to this assumption. The moment you doubt, the moment you revert to your old state, you halt the process. You must persist in your new state regardless of what appears before you. Even if the world shows no immediate change, hold fast to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Know that what you assume must come to pass, for it is law. Reality is nothing more than a reflection of your consciousness. Live in the end now, and you will watch as the world reshapes itself to match your new assumption. You are the creator, and the moment you fully accept your desire as already done, it is only a matter of time before you see it manifest. Persistence is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between imagination and reality, between desire and fulfillment. It is not enough to momentarily assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must persist in that assumption until it hardens into fact. Many people fail not because the law does not work, but because they do not persist. They allow doubts, fears, and the evidence of their senses to shake them from their new state of being. They start strong, imagining their wish fulfilled, feeling its reality. But when the outer world does not immediately conform, they waver. They question, they doubt, they revert to their old ways of thinking, and in doing so, they undo the very work they began. To persist means to remain faithful to your assumption, regardless of what the world appears to be showing you. It means refusing to be moved by temporary setbacks, by delays, by anything that contradicts your inner vision. The outer world is merely a reflection of past thoughts and feelings. If you persist in a new assumption, it is only a matter of time before the world must conform to it. The law is absolute. It does not fail, but you must remain unwavering. Think of a seed planted in the soil. You do not dig it up each day to check if it is growing. You trust that in the unseen depths the process is taking place. If you water it, nurture it, and give it time, it must break through the surface. But if you abandon it, if you stop caring for it, if you assume it is not growing simply because you do not see immediate results, then it withers and dies. So it is with your desires. The moment you assume your wish fulfilled, the seed is planted. Your persistence is the water that ensures its growth. Many people misunderstand persistence. They believe it means constantly working, constantly affirming, constantly doing something outwardly to force their desire into being. But persistence is not force, it is faith. It is the quiet, unwavering conviction that what you have assumed is already true. You do not need to repeat affirmations mindlessly or obsessively visualize. You simply need to maintain the inner knowing that your desire is already yours. If doubts arise, do not entertain them. If the world presents obstacles, do not react with fear. The moment you react to circumstances as though they have power over you, you return to your old state. Instead, persist in the feeling of already having what you desire. Walk through life with the confidence of one who knows their wish is already a reality. Carry yourself as though it were done. Speak as though it were done. Gag, think as though it were done. And in doing so, you make it so. There will be moments when the world tempts you to abandon your assumption. It may seem as though nothing is changing, as though you are simply imagining in vain. But this is where most people fail. They give up too soon, not realizing they were on the verge of breakthrough. The ones who succeed are those who persist, even in the face of apparent failure. They do not waver when the outer world contradicts their desire. They remain steadfast, knowing that what is seen is only a shadow of past assumptions, and that the new assumption must manifest in time. The world is your mirror, and just as a reflection does not change instantly, neither does reality. If you were to stand before a mirror and assume a new posture, there would be a slight delay before the reflection shifts. But shift it must. So too must the world change when you persist in a new state of consciousness. Test this for yourself. Take a desire, assume it is already fulfilled, and persist in that assumption regardless of what appears. Do not check for signs. Do not question how it will come. Do not waver in your knowing. Simply live as though it were already true. If you do this faithfully, without faltering, you will see your desire move from the unseen to the seen. The only thing required is persistence. This is the great secret of all who achieve their dreams. They do not allow the world to dictate their state. They dictate their state, and the world follows. They persist in their assumption until it becomes reality. And so must you. Hold fast to your vision, remain unshaken, and know that what you have assumed will come to pass. The law is sure, and it is waiting for you to apply it with faith, conviction, and unwavering persistence.